Well, Diddy got sued for a 10th time, and I wasn't even going to cover this because it's like, okay, what, more of the same? But it's actually not more of the same. There are some extreme differences in this lawsuit from the others I've read. Let me show you what I mean. Now, before I get into actually reading the lawsuit, I do want to say I have seen some other YouTube content creators coming out and talking about this lawsuit and saying things like they don't find this particular plaintiff to be credible. I've seen, for example, Andy Popcorn Planet, friend of the channel. He's always been a big supporter of me. Thank you, Andy. I saw him kind of implying or maybe even explicitly stating that maybe this plaintiff was planted by Diddy or planted for some reason to make other allegations seem less credible. I really don't know evidence for this. Andy does point to and discuss something that I do find to be a little bit curious, which is the Cash App of this plaintiff. Her name is Adria English. Her Cash App name is something like $she Diddy. So in and of itself, yes, I understand this particular plaintiff, maybe there's some stuff going on with her, but I don't think it actually matters. TLDR, I don't think it matters if this woman is credible, because the two things that I find to be the most important about this lawsuit, there are receipts and evidence included in this lawsuit where it doesn't matter if the woman's telling the truth or not. Let me show you what I mean. So here is the lawsuit. I downloaded this one myself from Pacer. Okay, we're definitely not reading through this whole lawsuit. It is 114 pages long. So who is this plaintiff? Adria English. Well, she is, and they do open and lead with this. Now, if you saw my CoffeeZilla video, you saw I already talked about a concept called stealing thunder. And that is when you are in a legal action and you know somebody's going to bring something up, you bring it up first in order to steal the impact that was going to have. So in this case, this was filed on July 3rd and today's the 10th. So exactly a week ago, this was filed, the day before Independence Day, girl. I don't know why they're doing this all of a sudden now. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Tyrone Blackburn started it. Maybe this is just something they've been doing. I haven't seen this until the P. Diddy progeny, but you do have a trigger warning here. So there's a trigger warning. So who is this plaintiff? Plaintiff Adria English. She is, and she steals the thunder. She puts it out there first thing first. And she says that when she was a teenager, she was coerced or kind of tricked into making some adult film content. She says that there was a well-known grown man in the industry who told her that this was supposed to be a tape. Now, this is back in the day. This is like, 2000, 2001, I don't know, something. But she ends up saying that that was an important component into her recruitment for the whole, what she alleges is an ST scheme put on by Diddy and his accomplices. So here's the complaint. And as you can see, Adria English, she is suing Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, Brother Love, Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, Sean John Clothing, Combs Global Enterprises, Tamiko Thomas, Jacob the Jeweler, which I think I've seen him come up recently somewhere else. And this is one of the two things that I believe sets this case apart. It also, in my opinion, you'll see, I'll show you why I think this and you can tell me in the comment section, but it also, I believe, is the number one reason, in my opinion, this plaintiff is being treated very differently by the traditional media than the other plaintiffs. I mean, this is my opinion. But as you can see here, Adria is suing Vibe Magazine and a company called Penske Media Corporation. Now, Penske Media Corporation was already on my list. Why? Because they are a huge media conglomerate. They own a lot of stuff. They have this, like, Penske is the parent company, and there's all these companies up under it. Let me show you what I mean. Here's their website. And if you go to the brands tab up at the top, look at all their properties. We got Billboard. We got the Golden Globe Awards, Variety Magazine, Women's Wear Daily, The Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone, the Billboard Music Awards, the American Music Awards, the New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest, So You Think You Can Dance, Deadline, and the Streamy Awards, to name a few. So as you can also see on their website, I'm showing you right here, Vibe, it's right here. Look, Vibe magazine is a property of Penske Media Corporation. Now, if you go to the homepage, you'll see all these stars. I mean, Lana Del Rey, just to name a few, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift. We got Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, look, I'm just gonna scroll here. Streamies, got the drag queens over here. We got Selena Gomez. I mean, this is like a major media company, even if they only just had Billboard and the Billboard Awards. And you might remember, I might go back and look for this, depends on how long this video takes, but if I have time, I'll put it in here. You might remember that whenever Britney Spears and her lawyer at the time, Matt Rosengart, were in fights with Lou Taylor for the conservatorship stuff, that they blamed Lou Taylor for using Britney's money to basically buy her way onto Billboard entertainment list. I'll put it in here if I can find that. So the reason I had already, I mean, that link was already purple for me, because guess what other company that Penske co-founded with a woman named Bonnie Fuller? HollywoodLife.com.
Chloe with your Holly Buzz. Justin Bieber is still working through his heartbreak over Selena Gomez, but he may have found the perfect rebound, and we have all of the exclusive details. So Jelena is officially off for right now, guys, but it sounds like Justin Bieber has a new muse, and her name is Hailey Baldwin. Who's Hailey? Well, she comes from a pretty famous family. Her dad is Stephen Baldwin. He's an actor, evangelical, religious guy, and then her uncle is actually Alec Baldwin.
Fast forward a couple minutes if you're not interested in the webbing, but for the people that are here for the web, I do want to just put it in here. In the whole webbing story of things, Penske Media Company is one of the founders of another little property called HollywoodLife.com. Now, I was thinking about doing a whole history of HollywoodLife.com, so I had already started researching Penske for a video. But y'all remember Chloe Malos coming out and like defending the valuation of Kylie Cosmetics right at the time whenever the valuation was actually in dispute?
And she just sold her majority stake for $600 million to Cody. Chloe Malos is here with us. This is a massive deal, Chloe. And I want to ask you about the valuation, right? The sticker price. Is it worth it? What has she built here?
100% it's worth it.
And Chloe Malos at HollywoodLife.com. I mean, now she's like the exclusive interview choice for Jeff Bezos and his girlfriend who looks like a blockhead.
Now to a CNN exclusive interview with our very own Chloe Malos.
World.
You know, when you go and you look at your net worth, it's too much money to even spend in a lifetime. Do you plan to give away the majority of your wealth in your lifetime?
Yeah, I do. So we're building the capacity to be able to give away this money. So it's
Let's bring in our own Chloe Malos, who sat down with the two of them. It just goes without saying, it is so hard to get time with them. So the fact that you're the one they chose to sit down with says a lot.
Thank you.
You're the one they chose to sit down with says a lot.
I saw him and Lauren at the Portrait Gallery unveiling with Clive Davis. So you have all of these people in the room. Who was in the room? Marianne Edelman Wright, Jose Andres, Venus and Serena Williams, Hillary Clinton, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Clive Davis. But you know who had the biggest buzz?
Tell me.
Jeff Bezos.
But back in the day, she kind of started out on HollywoodLife.com. And I've kind of speculated in a joking way. I mean, this is all just speculation. I don't even know if it's like, if I actually truly believe it, but it seems to me, based on the types of coverage that Chloe Malos was giving to the Kardashians and the Jenners, that she might have been a little bit linked up with them.
Hey guys, it's Chloe. We are unboxing Kylie Jenner lip kits. So I have been waiting for these. They're totally sold out. Like, I don't know how anybody gets a lip kit, but finally I have not one, but two. I'm like getting goosebumps right now. I'm so excited. The detail on the box, dripping. I just love it. This is so Kylie.
Ooh, so fancy.
Drum roll, please.
Ooh, Kylie. Ooh, picture of Kylie in jail. Hot.
She wrote me a note. My new lip gloss, XO Kylie. What if she like hand wrote every single one? Lip gloss. Oh my gosh, guys, it smells so good. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It smells like coffee or something.
Now, I also interviewed with Chloe Malos on the Britney Spears story, and she basically misled us. She misled some people in the Free Britney movement, and she said that she was going to be interviewing us for a piece on CNN. Again, at the time she was working at CNN, and I recorded that whole video and I have it up on my channel. Maybe I'll link it below. But essentially, I ended up finding out that she was in contact with a certain few people from Britney Spears's team, and that's who was giving her her marching order, information. So that HollywoodLife.com company was also owned by Penske Media. It was co-owned by, I think, a woman named Bonnie Fuller, and I think she did finally just buy it back. I'm not exactly sure. But when I saw Penske Media in this lawsuit, I was like, hold on. This might be something a little bit different. Because why? Because so far, we haven't seen anybody suing the media in these lawsuits. I haven't looked at the two most recent ones that closely, so maybe they have. But this was the first time that I saw someone suing a media company and not just the record company or the label or the CEO or whatever. Now, importantly, it doesn't actually matter if this plaintiff is credible because she includes receipts from Penske Media and specifically Vibe Magazine. Let's keep going. Okay, and just to let y'all know, there are some actually not sent pictures in this lawsuit. I will not be showing them here. But if you go out in the wild and you're looking up this lawsuit on your own, there are some pictures in here. Okay, that's all I'll say. Okay. Now, Adria, she starts off the complaint by just simply listing all of the other lawsuits that are going on. Okay, she starts here. She has the Cassie one. Then she goes on to say that there was evidence, the videos and other witnesses have come forward. Then there was the one with Joy Dickerson Neal. Then the Jane Doe with Diddy's company and Harv Pierre. The fifth lawsuit was another Doe, a Jane Doe. She was ST and this. The sixth lawsuit was the Lil Rod lawsuit. And I think Cassie's and Lil Rod's were the two, for some reason, those were the ones that really shook the foundations, the pillars. They shook the foundations of the whole thing. Seventh lawsuit was the one that was filed against Diddy and his son, Christian Combs. That was with the girl from the yacht, the lady from the yacht. An eighth lawsuit was filed by Crystal McKinney, a model who says she was D-Rugged and S-Aid. And that's the one I have not read on my channel yet. If y'all still want me to read it, comment below. I might, but I don't know. Then there was this ninth lawsuit, a woman named April Lampros, and that one has battery, ASSAULT, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Okay, so prior to any of these cases being filed, Diddy was named as a defendant in a Trey Songz lawsuit in Florida involving SA as well. Diddy was also implicated in a suit filed in California against Chris Brown for SA that took place also on a yacht anchored at Diddy's Star Island home. Okay. Chris Brown is also referenced. So they're kind of they're trying to make links between Trey Songz and Diddy and those allegations. Chris Brown and Diddy and those allegations. So then she says, this is now the 10th lawsuit filed against him since November 16th, 2023. So within like 6-8 months, it's the 10th lawsuit, like one a month. We're just keeping going. And I would not be surprised to see 2-3 more pop up by the end of the year. Now, the lawyer does make an argument I do take issue with, which is due to these numerous lawsuits filed against defendant Combs, alleging the same or similar acts, there is now a growing awareness that he was engaging in far more sinister acts than previously known, including physical abuse. Okay, I don't think this is a good argument, and the reason I'm going to nitpick at this here is because I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying that this Adria English person is making the best arguments or that she is particularly credible. I strongly believe, as y'all know on this channel, I strongly believe everyone should be considered and presumed innocent until proven guilty. I personally have had instances where people have filed false declarations against me in a court of law, and this is exactly the type of tactic that the detractors and the ops and the bots and the anonymous accounts who won't say shit with their chest did rely on. Why would all of these people be lying? Well, it turns out they were, because I keep winning cases, and now 2 of them I have emails from who are saying, I did not sign that declaration. I don't know how those statements got put in there. I didn't sign that. So for those reasons, I do just want to make it very clear. I'm not saying, oh, we got to believe every word that comes out this woman's mouth. I think this, for example, would have been a much stronger argument if the lawyer had simply said, due to the fact that we have seen video surveillance footage come out and due to the fact that Diddy has now admitted to some of this violent action, we do know that maybe he was engaging in far more sinister acts than previously known, instead of due to the numerous lawsuits, because none of these lawsuits have been actually decided. One has been settled, the Cassie lawsuit. And do I believe that he was engaged in more sinister things? Yes. But this says it as if it is a fact. And the only thing I know for a fact is the stuff I have evidence for. And that is Diddy's literal admission to that elevator footage with Cassie. That's a fact. You can't argue with that, right? So I think that would have been a stronger argument, but moving on. Okay, so the specific allegation here is that Adria claims that she was ST'd by Diddy and two of his so-called alleged accomplices from the years 2004 to 2009. And it says because of Diddy's relationship with Vibe magazine, due to their conspiracy in the ST enterprise, all of them knew they could publish Plaintiff's likeness without her consent and fear of recourse, and chose Plaintiff's likeness to use without permission in an effort to continue defendant's ST enterprise. Now look at paragraph 18. Adria, through her lawyer, says, Adria has lived her adult life with the memories of being trapped in a cycle of ST she never asked to be a part of. Look at this part I've highlighted. She says, through her lawyer, that she was chosen because defendant Combs knew he could groom her. Okay, so this is something I just want y'all to keep in mind for literally ever. Anytime you ever come across a lawsuit where somebody is a S worker, anything like that, dancer, model, OF, whatever, there's no such thing as a perfect victim. And I said this in Rabbit's live chat last night. Shout out if you're watching this live chat and you also watched that one, you saw this comment, put a 3 in the chat. But P. Diddy was obviously not recruiting women from the Sunday school class, okay? He was recruiting women who he believed had a propensity for being more okay with debaucherous and highly behaviors. Okay, what do we hear from all these people? We heard from Lil Rod, we heard from Cassie, we heard from several of the other plaintiffs who are suing Diddy. Even the one lady who was doing the interview from Making the Band, she was like, yeah, I mean, we did our first challenge and he came out in his robe after he had been making us wait for 20 minutes while he was doing We All Know, because we could hear it in the bedroom, and he came out in his robe, and now it's like, okay, I guess we're shooting a show now. So she acknowledges this here. She says through her lawyer, she was chosen because defendant Combs knew he could groom her. Okay. For years, she's been affected by it, and then she outlays some of her damages. So I had to even do a double take to see if Tyrone Blackburn filed this lawsuit, because it definitely looks like it was formatted like his, even so far as these pictures for the parties. Defendant Sean Combs. I didn't know New Edition was a bad boy band. I do have a video in the works on New Edition, one of the modern day blueprint boy bands. One of. There's been boy bands forever, as y'all know. So then they outline how successful Diddy is, and just to kind of set up, at the time, he was a huge deal. He has a long history of committing physical and S acts. Okay, she's suing Bad Boy, she's suing Sean John Clothing, Combs Global. This is Tamiko Thomas. Okay, who is Tamiko? She was like a assistant of sorts, a madam of sorts, allegedly. She was responsible for transporting and making payment to individuals like Plaintiff in furtherance of a corrupt organization of ST. Here's Jacob the jeweler, who apparently is from Uzbekistan. I did not know that. And this plaintiff, in the lawsuit allegations, it is alleged she was coerced or expected to engage in a certain relationship with Jacob the jeweler, and she's just laying that out. Now, he was apparently sentenced to federal prison in 2008 for 2 years in a multi-state D-rug ring. He was fined $50,000. Okay, so now we get to Defendant Vibe magazine, and Defendant Vibe's ongoing relationship with Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs dates back as far as 1993. Defendant Vibe further injured Plaintiff in an effort to further the corrupt organization when it published Adria's picture in the issue pictured above without her permission, notice, or consent. We do have the Penske Media Corporation, who I already kind of laid out what that is. Upon information and belief, they are the owner and parent company of Vibe, and the information and belief would be from that website that we just saw. I mean, we saw that at least. And then here is Adria. Okay, so who is this Adria? So she says she moved to New York in 2004, but before she moved to New York, she was an adult film actress. And it's on the next page after this that they give us some proof, and I'm not showing that to y'all, but you can find it. It's out there. It's a public record. So she was an actress, and she admits it. She steals the thunder. Look, here I am. Yes, I was before 2004. And then her stage name was Unique. She participated in approximately 8 adult films prior to moving to New York, which were all done when she was a teenager. Okay. She was coerced by veteran adult actor Jake Steed into doing these films with the promise they would never be viewed or circulated within the United States. Okay, so I can believe this. I can believe this. I'm not saying I do necessarily, but I can believe it. It's not outrageous to me. How many videos have y'all seen in the last 3 months popping up by people who used to be doing the O and the F who are saying, oh man, I shouldn't have did that. I was waiting until I was 18 years old. As soon as I turned 18, I had the O and the F. I was doing this, I was doing that. And now I'm 26 and I regret it. So I'm not saying that happens to everybody. I'm not even saying that happens to most people. What I am saying is it does happen. So I can believe that, especially back in the day, I mean, DVDs were kind of brand new even. Like, we didn't have the same economy for this type of stuff as we do today, insofar as there wasn't so many download it yourself. There wasn't an O and an F. There wasn't all this different ways. It was like people having to film like videos that they would sell or rent out or make copies or whatever. So she was told, allegedly, she could be lying. She could be lying. I've seen people lie in lawsuits. But according to her, she was told that this video, yes, it was an adult film, but it was supposed to be released overseas. Well, what ended up happening is that man had lied to her, and she was just a teenager. He was a veteran in the industry, and I'm sure this happens all the time. So I'm willing to believe it. Now, I did hear Andy saying, you know, she can't cry victim later on because she was an adult film star. And I love Andy. You know, we're friends. He's a friend of the channel, but we do disagree on stuff. And this is something that I would disagree with him on. Just because somebody does participate consensually in one situation doesn't mean that 3, 5, 10 years later, if someone does SA them, then they're not actually a victim. Like, it isn't even logical to me, really. It just doesn't make a logical argument. It doesn't hold up to say that because someone did something in the past that they can never be a victim of something in the future. It just doesn't pass. It's just not going to pass for me. That logic isn't going to pass. But I respect Andy's opinion. I watch his channel, and I'm glad that there are a variety of opinions because this is the way that we do get to the truth. But in my opinion, in and of itself, just because she was in the industry does not mean that she is precluded from later on becoming a victim. And in fact, we do know that Diddy is alleged to specifically target people who he knows are not going to be believed later if they do accuse him of stuff. And this is a perfect type of targeting situation because then it does set up the scene later on to go, oh, well, she was doing that back when she was a teenager anyway. Maybe she's just some girl that just likes to do that or whatever. It's like, it's not going to pass for me. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll past the booty talk 4. Okay, Plaintiff says she moved to New York from California to evade or escape the disappointment of her family when they discovered she was acting in adult movies. As Plaintiff was led to believe the adult movies would only be seen and purchased abroad, therefore difficult to be viewed by those who knew her personally. Plaintiff moved to New York destitute and homeless with her then boyfriend, who was a starving up-and-coming model, Anthony Gallo, and that's them. Now, while Adria's boyfriend, Anthony, auditioned for modeling gigs in New York and he attended go-sees, Plaintiff Adria began dancing and performing at the Larry Club on 51st Street in New York under the stage name of Sasha. So she's a dancer at the Larry Club. So listen to this story that they're trying to tell me happened. On or about mid-2004, Mr. Gallo, that's the boyfriend, this guy right here with the tank top, the white shirt. He attended an audition for Sean John modeling campaign in New York where Adria accompanied him. So they both went to this audition. He was auditioning for Diddy's clothing line, Sean John, and Adria goes with her boyfriend to the audition. During that audition, I'm reading straight from the page, another model and Mr. Gallo were asked to perform on Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs in order to book the modeling campaign. Now it says Anthony, Mr. Gallo, he refused, but he was later reapproached by an employee, which is this lady, Tamiko Thomas, the one that's like the madam, allegedly, according to this lawsuit. And then she was offering some new terms. The terms being that Anthony could book the campaign if he commanded Adria, his girlfriend, the one who's suing Diddy now, to work at Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs' upcoming white party in the Hamptons as a go-go dancer, as Plaintiff was a well-known, talented, and highly sought-after dancer at the club. In an effort to assist her boyfriend's desire to become a model, and I think they were living together at the same time. I mean, I'm sure like his money was her money in some sense. Like if he could contribute, that was less she had to contribute. So Adria agreed to what she believed to be a legitimate employment opportunity with defense defendant Combs and Bad Boy Entertainment. And she was going to work at these white parties in the Hamptons, and she did that from 2004 to 2009. She did not agree to a lifetime of aftermath of being used as a S pawn for the pleasure and financial benefit of others. Okay, so that's pretty much the setup of this lawsuit. It is 114 pages long. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. I'm just going to reference my notes here. But she does go on to say that at that first party, she wasn't expected to really do any S type of activities. And so that kind of gave her a sense of comfort, thinking, yeah, I had to wear a little bikini. I had to do some dances, but that wasn't really much different than what she was doing at the Larry Flynt Club. And this is how the slippery slope does slip. And this is how someone who starts out doing something consensually can get pulled into something more like a victim or, survivor, if that's the word you prefer, where it's not just the case that just because somebody was in a certain industry, it means that they are carte blanche willing to do any and everything. And in fact, she does go on to say that once she did actually finally stop, once she escaped New York and went back home or whatever, she and her boyfriend were completely blackballed from the industry. And in particular, Anthony Gallo was fired pretty much immediately as soon as Diddy realized that this lady was not actually contributing and not showing up to work at these parties anymore. And the last one they gave me, it was straw in it. The straw hole was already open, so I thought it was poison. But Adria does say that pretty much by like the third white party or so, she was then expected to hook up with people and, do, more involved contact. She does say, though, every single party she worked, they provided her the outfit, the little costume or whatever, right, that she was supposed to wear. And she considered that to be her work uniform. And she says the first few times she was, and I'll blur this out, but just to give y'all a little bit of a sense of an idea, this is included in the lawsuit. And she's showing an example. This was in Vibe magazine. And as you can see down here, it says 2004, guest strikes a revealing pose. So then she gets into how they were transported and things like that. She was provided a separate room, like a little break room. She was supposed to do classes. She also does say, again, I don't know the veracity of these complaints. We do need to see all the evidence. I'm just kind of reading from the lawsuit here. But she also reiterates something we've heard before, which is that there were specific, possibly bottles of beverage, and she's saying it again here too. Plaintiff was strictly instructed by Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs and Tamika Thomas on which bottles of alcohol and champagne female employees were exclusively to drink from, and also required Plaintiff to take stuff from the little black bags that we heard about at the white party. Forced to drink copious amounts of alcohol. And then she says, upon information and belief, I think it was with EX. At one point, Diddy specifically personally thanked her, all that. She was always provided a wardrobe, always provided a break room. She was into ST over time. Around the third white party, Tamika Thomas and Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs demanded that Plaintiff begin engaging in, like I said, more, involved relations. Because why? Because they had learned about her past in the adult industry. It's almost like Diddy and Tamika knew that if somebody was already in the industry in the past, and then you had them doing, this kind of work now, that you might be able to twist it. You might be able to twist a little media narrative that says, oh, man, how's she going to cry victim now? How's she going to cry victim now? She's been doing this. It's almost like Diddy knows that's where people's minds goes. It's almost like Diddy knows that it's going to be a lot easier to discredit somebody who's been in that industry. And also like Diddy knows that she's already been groomed a certain length of the way. She's already been groomed into this industry already. So she's, he's not starting from scratch. If this is true, might all be lies. I don't know. Now look at this. And this is Act 2. So there's two big things I want to focus on in this video. I guess it's like 2.5. The other thing that I do just want to point out, the 0.5, is that Adria English is not a perfect victim. And that's something they taught us in law school. It's like there's certain things that just get tossed around all the time. It's like sayings. You just hear it over and over. One of the sayings in the STSA world of things is that you are never going to have a perfect victim. That's just one of the things they say. It's usually the case that somebody has done something it's like, God, I wish they didn't do that. Now, when I was learning about this, it was like in the context of a client. Sometimes looking back on things that people do, you're like, why'd you do that? Like a lot of people will text their assailant. A lot of people will call them. A lot of people will see them again once or twice, maybe a bunch, a lot of people will go back to them in some way. And it's like, that's the type of thing. Now you have to explain that to a jury because unless you've been in the situation, you don't really understand why it is somebody would do certain things. The quintessential case is like the judge asking, why didn't you kick and scream and bite and claw? And it's like, because people have different reactions. There's fight, there's flight, there's freeze, there's fawn, there's freeze is like a dissociate, like you might not, you're in danger. It's like animals specifically. I mean, mammals do that for sure. And so this is the kind of like, there's no perfect victim type of thing. So in Adria's case, the 0.5 thing I wanted to just kind of close the loop on is she's not Cassie. She's not even Lil Rod. She is a lady who worked for Diddy as a S worker by her own, lawsuit admission. I don't know if it's true, but she's a former P star or whatever, she acted and did that. She's been taken advantage of, according to her. And so, I mean, people were saying Cassie wasn't credible. So this person especially isn't going to be considered credible by the general public. So I just want to point that out, that when we are discrediting certain allegations and giving credit to other certain allegations, like really examine your biases. Just because somebody's not a famous singer with a record deal or a Grammy winning producer or nominated producer, it doesn't mean that what they're saying is false. Just because somebody has perhaps participated in the adult industry, it doesn't mean they can never be a victim. Now, the question becomes, why did she wait so late? I can think of some very obvious answers to that. Number one, money. Who's going to pay for that? She said she was blackballed. Number two, who's going to believe her? How many lawsuits have we read on this channel of people saying they were ST'd by P. Diddy and judges dismissed it as frivolous? And God forbid, it could be even worse. She could have been dragged across the media by Vibe and all of Penske. I mean, who knows? So I can think of a lot of reasons why she did wait. Specifically her, because she's not Cassie. She's not Kesha. I mean, look, Kesha can't get justice either, and she's actually really famous. So that was the 0.5. So the first big issue is she's suing the media. The other issue that I did just want to take into account is there's really never a perfect victim, and we should really examine our biases. And the third big issue is this woman completely outs Kamora Lee Simmons. Woman really comes for Kamora Lee Simmons' neck. Let me show you what I mean. So paragraph 110 and 111, she is talking about that third white party where she finally was actually asked to engage in a certain type of interaction with the guests because specifically they had learned that she had been in the industry of entertainment. Now, during this quote, white party, Plaintiff was provided a black dress, and she was provided this by Tamika and Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Now, previously, she had been provided white clothing like other guests and the theme of the party. Okay, y'all piecing this together? On the day that she was finally actually asked, on the day that she was graduating from go-go dancer doing lap dances to worker at the party, she went from wearing a white issued outfit to a black dress. Let's read further. Upon information and belief, Plaintiff believes she was required to wear a black dress to the white party to denote her capacity there as an employee, but more sinisterly, as an ST'd S worker. So she's saying she believes that that day that she was no longer wearing the white clothes and now she's wearing the black clothes that were given to her by Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs and Tamika Thomas, that was the day she started engaging in the actual S work of the organization. That's what she says. One beneficiary of these services was Jacob the jeweler. Plaintiff, fearing not only her safety, but her and her then boyfriend's job security, did as instructed and went with Jacob the jeweler, where she engaged in forced acts with him. And it was at the demand and at the behest of Diddy. Now, it says that she knew refusing Diddy's demands was not an option. And if she did so, it would be at not only her detriment, but her boyfriends. And again, y'all, I don't want to discount the fact that this man was also working for Diddy. He was propositioned, according to this lawsuit, to do a certain on Diddy to get the job. Then when he wouldn't do it, Diddy kind of used a little bit sort of like behaviors, in my opinion, and went to the boyfriend and said, fine, if you won't S my D, make your girlfriend dance at my white party. then she's kind of like, okay, I'll dance. I'm already a dancer anyway, whatever, private party. Cool. Maybe I'll make money. And they actually let her do that for a time or two. Then that third time she gets issued a new outfit, a different color, and now she's being expected to do even more. And this is how grooming works. I do understand a lot of y'all are unfamiliar with the concept. And so it's easy to just say like, oh, she's just some and she don't deserve our empathy or sympathy. But this is grooming. They let her, if she would have showed up first day and they would have been like, all right, busted wide open, then no, that would have probably not worked. You got to do the slow drip. And that's what they did do. So her employment and especially her boyfriend's employment were contingent upon her doing these activities. And again, she's been isolated from her family. She's kind of already on a bad road. You can understand how even if this person is lying, even if this person isn't telling the truth, you can understand how the whole thing fits together. It's like, oh yeah, let's get somebody, the audition, who's destitute, basically homeless. Their families are so embarrassed of them. Their families don't even talk to them anymore. They don't have anyone. They don't have anything. They're isolated. They already have a bad reputation as a SLUT. And so, yeah, I mean, no one's ever going to believe them. We can abuse them. We can do anything to them. I could see how that happens. Okay. It says that a lot of the time she was on DRUGS. And so for that reason, she has not a lot of memories about the details. She believes there's hidden cameras. Defendant Combs was very forceful, demanding, and he doesn't take no for an answer. He would often threaten to inflict bodily harm and or terminate plaintiff or her then boyfriend's employment and blackball them from the industry. So this is a very important point to me because the other people I've seen talking about this, they didn't mention this. They did not mention this. And maybe it's just because it's so quick and it's not included in the same part as the others. But like, remember whenever Lil Rod said that Diddy said he would his own mother to get what he wanted? And whenever Lil Rod said that Diddy said he was gonna eat his face if he messed up. Remember whenever Cassie said when she would try to make an escape from Diddy, she would get hunted down and stalked and blackballed and her record deal would be on the line and stuff like that. So it isn't just like, oh, boo-hoo, you didn't want to get fired. No. The woman said Diddy was threatening to inflict bodily harm on her and threaten the boyfriend to blackball him, to make him not able to make money anymore. And to be honest with y'all, who's going to believe these people? These are just regular starving artists, starving dancers, starving model. These aren't people that anybody's going to believe against Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Please look how people just acted all the way in 2023 when Cassie, who dated Diddy for 10 years, came out with her allegations. People didn't believe her. It took seeing video evidence and a confession. So I'm just so sorry. I'm just so sorry. This whole, oh, we can't believe her because she used to do S work is stupid. I'm sorry. It's stupid. It is. It's not smart. Look what else pattern we see. Diddy, in an effort to continue to silence Plaintiff and keep her in his ST organization, offered to help Plaintiff enter into the music business as a part of an all-female music group. Using all-female music groups for ST is something that I've been investigating for several years now, and I'm glad to see it in a lawsuit. So then she goes on to say, in retaliation for her escape, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs had the boyfriend blackballed from the modeling industry, and all of his campaigns with Sean John were removed. She does go on to say that she was hospitalized for mental illness at the time, about a year after she finally moved. Now she feels this obligation to speak up. Okay, so look at the allegation that she makes about the media. This is the big thing that I think is very different from the other cases. This part right here, I think has been actually missing from the other cases. And thankfully, not thankfully, I mean, unfortunately for her. Oh. And frankly, I think this is missing from the other lawsuits because it is such an important component to this web. Remember the Lou Taylor, the Vibe, the Billboard, the Hollywood Reporter. It's like, oh, Lou Taylor wins all those awards. Isn't that interesting? Remember whenever they said that P. Diddy had control to decide who gets a Grammy in a certain category? I mean, like, the media is a huge part of this. It's the reason most of us believe what we believe historically. I mean, probably not today because thank God we have independent media. We have people doing their own research. We have the internet, thank God. But look at paragraph 155. Plaintiff asserts that the defendant's Vibe and PMC's involvement in the enterprise included providing Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs with resources, like intentionally and falsely marketing. Y'all, this is just buried in here. I'm aggravated. Nobody's talking about this really. I'm aggravated because it's so obvious to me. Intentionally and falsely marketing and promoting Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs' white parties.
I was invited to the pool party.
Celebrities are going
She
to
was
be.
like,
In its publication as a high-profile networking and social event.
celebrities are here.
In an effort to disguise and deceive the real intent of the event, which was to further defendant Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs and his various businesses, including all these businesses' profits. Okay. So she's saying, I'm suing them basically on this sort of mutated false advertising theory, but kind of like saying they're part of the scheme. She's saying PMC and Vibe Magazine are part of the organization. They're in it. They're accomplices. Why? Because they're doing all these white party spreads talking about, oh, it's so influential. Look at all these rich people. Look at the guests. Look at the hot girls. Look at the actors. And she's like, really? It was a ST party. It had nothing to do with what they were trying to advertise it as. It was kind of like a cover up. She's saying they basically acted as a cover for Diddy. It doesn't matter if she's credible. This is the part where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she's not a victim. I have eyes, I have ears. I know this is true. I know Revolt Media, I know The Breakfast Club, Charlemagne, have been covering for Diddy.
Is it working?
I know it. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Is it working?
So I don't need her to be credible. This is why we can't do this black and white thinking, especially when we don't have all the evidence, especially whenever we're supposed to presume innocent until proven guilty. That's why we have to go through the process, because quickly just saying, oh yeah, she's just some dumb that's crying victim now. Instead of saying that, could be saying, isn't it interesting somebody's finally suing the media? And isn't it interesting that the media, I'm talking about the mainstream, the traditional media. I'm not talking about YouTubers. We can say our opinions. We're just opinion channels, okay? But the traditional media owned by Penske and everybody else, why are they treating this victim like it's a different type of situation? Why aren't they focusing as much on it? Now, counter argument could be people are just sick and tired of these lawsuits. I mean, it's the 10th one, for God's sake. I mean, it was the novelty's worn off. It's getting to the point where it's just sick. I mean, even me, I didn't really want to, if this was going to be more of the same, I didn't really want to even cover this because it's just like more, like it puts me in a bad space, thinking about all this depravity. But this is a good argument. And I agree. And I think it's actually been missing from the other people's arguments. There was one other thing that people were saying in their opinion that made this plaintiff less credible. And that was that she followed Tyrone Blackburn. Now, I know he has a history and he has his own issues, but if you were a victim of P. Diddy, is it that far-fetched to think you might follow the guy who was spearheading the charge to take him down? I think I'd probably follow him if I was a victim of Diddy. I'd probably follow Tyrone. I follow Tyrone Blackburn. So what if I sue somebody? Y'all are smarter than that. Come on now. All right. In furtherance of the illegal enterprise, Vibe Magazine and PMC ensured Diddy and his businesses appeared, I think it means overwhelmingly, in its magazine, be on its covers or pages inside the magazine, featuring pages dedicated to defendant Combs personally or his business. Plaintiff believes Vibe and PMC engaged in Diddy's illegal enterprise to what? Increase the visibility and profitability of its publication, Vibe Magazine, through the magazine's constant affiliation and relationship with Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. So then she gets into why she's suing the media company. It was the 2004 Labor Day white party, and her picture was taken by a photographer while she was working. That was the picture we looked at earlier. Now, she did not know what her picture was being taken for or what it would be used for, and her consent wasn't sought or given. Now, Andy did say last night, or I don't know if it was last night, but I watched a clip of his live last night on Rabbit's channel, and I did hear Andy from Popcorn Planet saying, what do you mean without your consent? Wasn't that in the contracts? You didn't sign any contracts? And she's saying, no, she did not. She said she didn't know what that picture was being taken for, and she did not give her consent. Her consent was not sought and it was not given. So to answer Andy's question, no, she did not consent. She did not sign anything for it. They didn't give her anything to sign. Actually, in paragraph 161, she goes on to say she's never entered into any agreement to license her likeness, nor was it a term for her employment at the white party. So could this one be lying? Yes, but Do I really think Diddy was sitting there having her fill out name and likeness releases so he could post her picture in Vibe magazine? No, I don't. I don't think so. Then it goes on to say Vibe magazine and Penske intentionally mislabeled Plaintiff as a guest at the white party in its magazine to further conceal the true intentions of the event and Plaintiff's employment role at the event in an effort to further the goals of the enterprise. They exploited her name and likeness in their November 2006 magazine, where Combs is on the cover, and the story was about his white parties. The unauthorized, non-consensual, and infringing use of Plaintiff's picture and her likeness is on page 140. And then they include the page. I'm gonna have to blur her out again. But look, we have everybody here. Christian Combs, we have Paris Hilton. You're gonna see there was Donald Trump was there. Now, she says she didn't discover this picture in the magazine until April 2024, but the issue is still readily available and viewable online. She says defendants have, without her authorization or consent, since used her likeness for advertising and other trade purposes without consent and without a license to promote Diddy and all these businesses and these products for commercial gain. She did not consent. She did not release her image. None of the defendants at any point had a license for the use of Plaintiff's picture and likeness to promote the white parties. At no point did Plaintiff authorize, consent to, or otherwise seek to allow the defendants to exploit her picture, image, or likeness as seen in the infringing use in any manner. She goes on to describe the behaviors of the magazine as acting as a distribution platform for all of Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs' business endeavors to disguise his true intentions with overly broad and vague in nature descriptions of activities. So white party. What does that mean exactly? Then I have highlighted here some of the people that were at the party, and I do think it bears mentioning. Defendants have unlawfully increased their profits by luring and deceiving individuals such as Plaintiff to their organization for the misstated purpose of using their talents as entertainment. Defendants' true intentions are later revealed through calculated grooming scheme that involves false promises of business opportunities, exposure to high-level celebrity individuals, including former President Donald Trump, Reverend Al Sharpton, Paris Hilton, music mogul Jay-Z, and music executives like Russell Simmons, Irv Gotti, Steve Stout, Andre Harrell, and Leor Cohen, with the promise of introductions, networking, fame, and fortune, which quickly shifts to unauthorized drug-ing, threats, and ST. Again, it don't really matter to me if this woman's telling the truth. Why? Because the most important things to me here are just that she's really reiterating a lot of stuff that the other people have already said, which is Diddy would promise stuff to people. He promised money and a big house to Lil Rod. I mean, we did see Justin Bieber right on camera getting promised a Lamborghini or something, but maybe that wasn't in connection with this. We know that Usher went to Flavor Camp, which God knows what happened over there, because he was being threatened because his voice was changing and it was like, oh, maybe you don't have what it takes or whatever. We also saw Cassie saying that she was threatened with her music career if she kept trying to run away from Diddy, or if she didn't come back to Diddy when she ran away the one time. So this really is just a reiteration. Also, it don't matter if this woman is believable or not, because every single one of these people, I shouldn't say every single one, but most of these people can actually be seen in pictures there. Al Sharpton we saw, Paris Hilton we saw, Leor Cohen we saw, we are going to see, Donald Trump we see. Yeah, so I mean, okay, we have pictures to prove. We have pictures to prove these people were at the party. It doesn't matter if she's believable or not. It doesn't matter why she filed the lawsuit. The people were at the party. Now, there was something else I wanted to show y'all, and that's the Kamora Lee. Oh yeah, look. See, look. Y'all notice anything interesting about what Kamora Lee Simmons is wearing? It's a black dress. I remember being with Betsy Johnson, Donna Karen, Ronald Perlman. All of us were trying to figure out if we should buy a white outfit to make sure we got in. There's Russell with his white, but then why isn't Kamora Lee wearing white at the white party? I just can't help but think about that third white party that she went to where she was instructed to wear black instead. Who do we have here? Diddy, Howard Stern, Kim Porter, Jay-Z. So these are all different white parties. Yeah, okay. So this is not all from the same party. 99, 99, 98, 98. Jay-Z and Leor Cohen, who is the Warner Music Group chairman. And look at these mermaids gone wild. That doesn't look like anything nefarious could possibly be going on in any way, shape, or form, does it? Yeah. Mary J. Blige. And then look, we have that same page we already saw. As further part of the enterprise, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs required entertainers like Plaintiff to wear clothing provided by Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs so that the plaintiff could be easily identified as a S worker by the party goers. Use the prospects of a music career and threats about blackballing. There's this ad I want to show y'all though. Here's the cover here. The ruler's back vibe. Sean Diddy Combs. Okay, this is the last thing I wanted to show y'all. I think she did this on purpose. I think she did this to hint about Kamora.
Why do I love you? Feels so good. Hurts so bad. Unforgivable.
I don't know if I ever saw this ad. Maybe I saw it. Maybe I forgot. It doesn't ring a bell to me. But this is allegedly an unforgivable cologne advertisement featuring Kamora Lee Simmons. Now, there's two women in the bed. There's a Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs with a sheet over his lap, meaning looking like he maybe was just now with those girls doing something in the bed. Right? But Kamora Lee was Russell Simmons' wife. Like it literally says Kamora Lee Simmons. I don't know if she was Simmons already. I don't know. But it just really kind of gives a little bit of the hint. People who were in these Sean John ads were required, or they were required to find somebody who would engage in these debaucherous, depraved actions. Then we have Kamora Lee Simmons twice in a black dress in this lawsuit after it's already been described that the people who were the S workers were the ones supposed to be wearing the black dresses at the white parties. And then we have Kamora Lee Simmons in a headlock on Diddy's crotch with nothing but a bed sheet separating them. Take with that information what you will. I really don't know. Again, just to reiterate, I don't know if any of these allegations are true. I don't know if this woman is credible. To me, the main things that are of main import of this situation is that she's suing the media and that she also talks a little bit about the wardrobe and the different codes of what was required to be worn at these parties, etc. Frankly, I personally have no problem believing she didn't sign any waivers. I have no problem believing she was legitimately afraid of what would happen if she got fired. She probably did even use some mental gymnastics to make herself more okay with it. What I will say is she obviously does regret ever getting involved in the adult industry, and so she would even agree with the people who were like, well, maybe you shouldn't have even ever done that in the first place. I think she would agree. She literally for a time was estranged from her family for it, maybe even still to this day. But I mean, all of us do make crazy mistakes when we're teenagers. I mean, I never did that when I was a teenager, but we do stupid stuff. And I do think people should be allowed to move on from things and not be questioned and discredited every time they make any allegation in the future just because of that. Now, there are some other reasons why we might be able to side-eye this lady, like her Cash App being named She Diddy. I don't know what that's about. Could she be a liar? Yes, she could be. But as far as these white parties and this media stuff is concerned, I mean, we've all seen that ourselves. The media has absolutely covered for Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. And not only him, it's what they do. It is their MO. Ever since I've been born, I've seen it with my own eyes. Nothing that any of y'all can ever tell me will change my mind. I've seen it with my own eyes. The traditional mainstream media putting out debauchery in front of our faces, putting out absolute lunacy in front of our faces, depraved, upside down, disgusting, probably should be criminal to even show children this type of stuff. And they've been doing it since I can remember being alive. So in our children's media, in our kids shows that we used to watch, in the kids shows that they watch today, all these little adult jokes snuck in there, all these little weird themes about things, this has been going on. I don't need anybody to be telling the truth to know what I've seen with my eyes. I've seen it with my eyes, these white parties be put in the media as if it was some type of thing you really wanted to go to. It was so exclusive. It was so fun. Everybody there is so rich and beautiful.
Like, we here to try to raise money for these, mosquito bed nets.
Just imagine living in Africa, just gets bit by a mosquito and he dies.
We're doing a charity this year. We're gonna do it every year with another charity. So thank y'all very much for coming. So let's party.
Any rotation, remix. Now let's shake to this. How much more can you make to this? I like the sound. Tell the part to listen another round.
Then you get there and you're drugged and you're Okay. So yes, I do actually think, without any credibility at all whatsoever on the behalf of anyone else saying it, I've seen it with my eyes. I already know that happened. And I think that other people should have also sued some of these media companies. And that actually, this is what's going to actually start moving the needle. Because for every one Penske media, there's a million Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Let's go up to the top. Let's get to the head of the snake. Further up than even that. I'm ready. That's all I really had for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation and allegations ain't facts. Love you, mean it, okay, bye.
Welcome into my world. You're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and they're fitting off of my name. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof. Inflame. Kids these days so shameless. Selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though. I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I ain't no Colleen, ukulele ballanger. Shots been fired. Run and tell that. Say it to my face though. Now behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in a group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth.